Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of our podcast. Today, we are going to talk about a topic that is very important, very personal, and very real. The title of this episode is You're Burnt Out, Not Very Lazy. And I want you to really pay attention here, because this is not just another motivational talk. This is not about wake up early, work harder, push yourself more. No, this episode is about understanding yourself. It is about listening to your mind, your body, and your emotions. It is about discovering why sometimes you feel tired, unmotivated, and stuck, and realizing that maybe, just maybe, it is not because you are lazy. Maybe it is because you are burnt out. Let's start by asking a very simple question. Have you ever had a moment where you wanted to do something, maybe study English, maybe work on a project, maybe clean your room, but you just couldn't? Not because you didn't care, not because you didn't want to, but because your body and mind refused. If your answer is yes, then you are not alone. Millions of people all around the world experience this every single day, but sadly, many of them blame themselves. They say, I am lazy, I am useless, I can't get anything done, and they live with guilt, shame, and frustration. But here's the truth. In most cases, it is not laziness, it is burnout. Laziness versus burnout. Let's make this very clear. Laziness is when you choose not to do something, even though you have the energy and the ability. For example, you want to watch Netflix instead of doing your homework, even though you know you can. That is laziness. Burnout, on the other hand, is when your mind and body are exhausted from stress, pressure, or overwork. You want to do something, but you just can't. Your energy is gone. Your motivation is empty, and your brain feels heavy. So the difference is huge. Laziness is a choice. Burnout is a condition. How burnout feels? Burnout is like trying to run a marathon after you've already run 3 other marathons without resting. Imagine that. Your legs hurt, your lungs burn, and your brain screams, stop. But people around you keep saying, come on, just push harder. You are lazy if you don't. Does that sound familiar? Burnout often feels like constant fatigue. You wake up tired, even after sleeping. Loss of motivation. Things that used to excite you now feel meaningless. Difficulty concentrating. Reading 1 page of a book feels like climbing a mountain. Irritability, small problems make you angry or upset. Physical symptoms, headaches. It is not in your head. Burnout is real. It affects your brain chemistry, your hormones, your emotions, and your body. People confuse burnout with laziness. Now, let's talk about why so many people, maybe even you, confuse burnout with laziness. First, society teaches us that success comes only from working harder. From school, from parents, from social media, we hear this message. If you are not working, if you are not productive, then you are lazy. Second, we compare ourselves to others. We see friends on Instagram who are always busy, who always succeed, who wake up at 5 a.m. every day, and we feel guilty because we can't do the same. Third, burnout hides itself. It doesn't come suddenly. It grows slowly, day by day, until one morning you wake up and feel completely empty. You don't realize it's burnout, so you blame yourself. A personal example. Let me share a story with you. There was a student named Amina. She was very motivated to learn English. She watched YouTube videos every day, listened to podcasts, wrote vocabulary in her notebook, and practiced speaking with her friends. For a few weeks, She was full of energy. But then, slowly, things changed. She started to feel tired. She couldn't concentrate. She looked at her notebook and felt bored. She opened a podcast and immediately closed it. She said to herself, "I am so lazy. Why can't I just do it?" But the truth was different. Amina was not lazy. She was burnt out. She had pushed herself too much, too fast, without rest. Her brain needed time to recover, but instead, she punished herself with guilt. Does this sound familiar to you? Have you ever been like Amina? The emotional side of burnout. Burnout is not only about energy, it is also about emotions. When you are burnt out, you feel guilty because you think you are not doing enough, ashamed because you think other people are better than you, hopeless because you think you will never improve. This is very dangerous, because when you believe you are lazy, you stop trying, you lose confidence, you stop dreaming, and slowly you start to give up. But when you understand that it is burnout, not laziness, everything changes, because burnout can be managed. Burnout can be healed. Burnout is temporary. The first step. So, the very first step in this journey is simple but powerful. Stop blaming yourself. Say this to yourself: I am tired, I am burnt out, and I need rest. This mindset shift is like opening a window in a dark room. Suddenly, light comes in. Suddenly, you see the truth. And in the next parts of this podcast, we will explore exactly how to deal with burnout, how to recognize it, how to heal, and how to rebuild your motivation in a healthy way. But for now, let's pause and reflect. Take a deep breath, place your hand on your heart, and remind yourself, I am not lazy, I am burnt out. And that is okay. And now, my friends, I'd like to invite Dr. Caroline, a well-known university psychologist, to continue this podcast with you. She brings her expertise and deep experience to guide us through the next part of this journey.
Thank you, Liz. I truly enjoy being part of your podcast because its purpose is so meaningful, not only teaching English, but also supporting mental well-being and helping the audience who listens. The roots of burnout. Burnout does not appear by magic. It has causes, and in most cases, it is not only one cause, but a combination of many. Here are some of the most common roots of burnout. 1. Overworking without rest. Many of us think productivity means working 12 hours a day without breaks. We believe that if we stop, we lose. But the truth is, the human brain and body need rest. Without rest, energy becomes empty. Imagine driving a car without ever stopping for fuel. At some point, the car will stop no matter how much you push the gas pedal. 2. Constant stress. Stress is not always bad. A little bit of stress can motivate us. But when stress never ends, deadlines, exams, responsibilities, financial problems, our system becomes overloaded. Chronic stress eats our energy, our motivation, and even our health. 3. Lack of control. Have you ever felt like life is controlling you, not the other way around? Your boss decides everything. Your family expects everything. Your teacher gives endless tasks. When we feel we have no control, burnout grows. Because humans need to feel some sense of choice and freedom. 4. Unrealistic expectations. Sometimes we push ourselves too hard. We set impossible goals. For example, I will learn English in 1 month. Or, I will wake up at 4 a.m. every day and never feel tired. When reality does not match expectations, disappointment comes and burnout follows. 5. Lack of support. Humans are social beings. We need connection, encouragement, and understanding. When we try to carry everything alone, the weight becomes too heavy. Without support, burnout arrives faster. A story of burnout at work. Let me tell you about Kareem. Kareem was an ambitious young man working in a big company. He wanted to prove himself, so he said yes to every task. He stayed late at the office, replied to emails at midnight, and skipped weekends with his friends. At first, his boss was impressed. Kareem was called the hardest worker. But after 6 months, something changed. Kareem started making mistakes. He forgot small details. He felt tired every morning. He lost interest in projects. One day his boss shouted at him, "What's wrong with you? You used to be so motivated. Now you are lazy." But Kareem was not lazy. He was burnt out. He gave too much without balance. He had no time to recharge. His brain was exhausted. His body was screaming for rest. This story is not unique. Maybe you have lived something similar. Maybe you tried to give 200% until you had nothing left. The emotional trap. One of the worst things about burnout is the emotional trap. When you are burnt out, you don't only feel tired. You also feel guilty about being tired. You think, maybe I'm weak. Maybe I don't deserve success. Other people can do it, why not me? This negative self-talk makes burnout even stronger. It is like being stuck in quicksand. The more you fight yourself, the deeper you sink. This matters for English learners. Now, let's connect this topic to language learning, because many of you listening to this podcast are students of English. Burnout is extremely common in learning. Why? Because many learners push themselves too hard. They say, "I will study 5 hours every day. I will memorize 100 words this week. I will finish this grammar book in 3 days." At first, motivation is high. But then slowly, energy goes down. Suddenly, the learner stops studying. And instead of recognizing burnout, they say, "I'm lazy. I'm not good enough." But no, you are not lazy. You are human. And humans cannot run at 100 km/h every single day. You need balance, rhythm, and rest. Real-life example, famous people and burnout. You may think burnout only happens to students or workers, but the truth is, even successful and famous people suffer from it. Simone Biles, the Olympic gymnast, once stepped back from competition because of burnout and mental health struggles. The world called her lazy or weak. But in reality, she was protecting her health. Elon Musk, the billionaire entrepreneur, admitted that he worked so many hours that he felt near collapse. He said his brain and body were at the limit. Ariana Grande, the singer, spoke about canceling concerts because of exhaustion and emotional burnout. So if world-class athletes, billionaires, and celebrities can face burnout, why do we think we are immune? Burnout is not about weakness. It is about being human. Recognizing the signs in yourself. So, how do you know if you are burnt out and not just lazy? Here are some important signs. 1. You want to work, but you physically and mentally cannot. 2. Resting doesn't feel like enough. Even after sleep, you are tired. 3. Activities you used to love now feel boring or heavy. You feel emotional exhaustion, sadness, irritability, or hopelessness. 5. You blame yourself constantly for not doing more. If you recognize these signs, stop punishing yourself. You are not lazy. You are burnt out. A gentle reminder. Take a moment right now. Close your eyes. Think about your last week. Were you always running, always pushing, always trying? Did you give yourself time to rest, to breathe, to simply exist? If not, then maybe what you need is not more discipline. Maybe what you need is compassion. Compassion for yourself. Understanding that your value does not depend only on productivity. Remember, you are not a machine. You are not a robot. You are a human being with limits, with emotions, with needs. And it is okay to rest. Step 1. Acknowledge it. The first step is always awareness. You cannot heal something you don't recognize. So say it clearly to yourself. I am not lazy. I am burnt out. This simple sentence removes guilt and replaces it with clarity. When you understand what's really happening, you can begin to take action in a healthier way. Why prevention matters. Think of burnout like a fire. If you wait until your house is burning, it is very hard to save it. But if you pay attention to small sparks early, you can stop the fire before it spreads. The same is true for your mind and body. Prevention is easier than recovery. That's why learning how to maintain balance every day is so important. Habit 1. Create daily energy rituals. Every day you lose energy and you gain energy. The secret is to create small daily rituals that refill your energy battery. Examples of energy rituals. Morning sunlight. Open your window, look at the sky, let natural light touch your eyes. This helps regulate your mood and energy. 5 minutes of breathing deep. Breathing reduces stress and gives your brain oxygen. Gratitude journal. Writing 3 small things you are thankful for can shift your mind from stress to peace. Remember, rituals don't have to be big. Even 2 minutes can make a difference if done consistently. Habit 2. Protect your boundaries. One major reason people burn out is that they say yes too much. Yes to work, yes to family, yes to obligations, until nothing is left for themselves. You need boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are healthy limits. They are the way you say, this is my space, my time, my energy, and I choose how to use it. Example phrases you can use. I can't take more tasks right now. I need some time for myself this evening. I'd love to help, but I have to rest. At first it feels uncomfortable. But with practice, boundaries become natural. And they protect your mental health. Habit 3. Focus on progress, not perfection. Perfectionism is one of the fastest roads to burnout. When you demand perfection from yourself, perfect English, perfect grades, perfect work, you will always feel exhausted and unsatisfied. Instead, shift your focus to progress. Ask yourself, am I better than yesterday? Did I learn something new today? Example, if yesterday you learned 5 English words and today you learned 6, that is progress. Celebrate it. Progress gives energy. Perfection kills energy. Habit 4. Make rest a priority, not a reward. Many people treat rest like a reward. I can only rest after I finish everything. But the truth is, the everything never ends. There will always be another task, another message, another responsibility. So instead of treating rest as a luxury, treat it as a priority. Schedule it first. Because when you rest first, your work becomes better, faster, and easier. Habit 3. Focus on progress, not perfection. Perfectionism is one of the fastest roads to burnout. When you demand perfection from yourself, perfect English, perfect grades, perfect work, you will always feel exhausted and unsatisfied. Instead, shift your focus to progress. Ask yourself, am I better than yesterday? Did I learn something new today? Example, if yesterday you learned 5 English words and today you learned 6, that is progress. Celebrate it. Progress gives energy. Perfection kills energy. Habit 4. Make rest a priority, not a reward. Many people treat rest like a reward. I can only rest after I finish everything. But the truth is, the everything never ends. There will always be another task, another message, another responsibility. So instead of treating rest as a luxury, treat it as a priority. Schedule it first. Because when you rest first, your work becomes better, faster, and easier. Story: How Adam Changed His Life. Adam was a young man working in IT. He loved his job, but he worked 12 hours a day. He thought success meant no rest. One day his health collapsed. He fainted in the office and had to go to the hospital. The doctor told him, "If you continue like this, your body will not survive." Adam was shocked. He realized he had to change. So he started with small habits, sleeping on time, taking short walks, saying no to extra projects. Slowly, his energy came back. He became more productive than before. Not because he worked longer, but because he worked smarter. Adam's story reminds us, rest is not weakness. Rest is power. Habit 5. Stay connected. Isolation feeds burnout. When you are alone with your stress, it grows bigger. But when you connect with people, family, friends, community, stress becomes lighter. Practical tip: make time each week for meaningful connection. A phone call with a friend, a walk with family, or even an online chat with someone who understands. Humans heal in connection, not in isolation. Reflection exercise. Take a notebook and write 2 questions. 1. What activities give me life, energy, and joy? 2. What activities feel empty, meaningless, or forced? Compare your answers. Are you spending more time on the first list or the second? The goal is not to escape all hard work. Life will always have challenges. The goal is to fill your life with enough meaningful, joyful activities that balance the difficult ones. Final thought for this part. Burnout is not only about doing too much. It is also about forgetting who you are, what you love, and why you live. So if you want to prevent burnout, protect your joy, protect your rest, protect your meaning. And remember, success is not about how fast you run, but about how long you can keep walking without breaking. If you are enjoying this podcast, don't forget to subscribe and share it with a friend who might need to hear this message. Your support helps us continue creating content that inspires and heals.